On page 17 of the hardcover edition of his book, The Better Angels of Our Nature, Steven Pinker talks about executions for heresy, and he claims Jesus Christ wanted heretics put to death. And he says, quote, "The method of choice had been specified by Jesus himself. If a man abide not in me, he is cast forth as a branch, and is withered, and men gather them, and cast them into the fire, and they are burned." Unquote. To me, that just sounds like Jesus was simply saying that evil people will be condemned to hell after they die. In fact, in chapter 13 of the Gospel of Matthew, verses 49 and 50, Jesus definitely states that the burning will take place at the end of the world, not before. Pinker presents no evidence that any scholar has ever believed that that passage that he quotes means that Jesus was saying that heretics should be burned to death. And Pinker presents no evidence that any European rulers interpreted that passage that way either. From the day Jesus was crucified to the year 313 AD, when Christianity was legalized in the Roman Empire, there is not one speck of evidence that Christians killed anybody for heresy, even though many heretics existed during that period. Read the book Pagans and Christians by the famous history professor Robin Lane Fox, and you will see that Fox talks quite a lot about heretics from that period, such as Marcion, Montanus, and Tertullian, but he doesn't say any of them were killed. All the mainstream Christians did was write essays arguing against heretical beliefs. They never killed anybody. If Jesus commanded that heretics be burned at the stake or executed in any other way, why did Christians disobey that commandment for the first 300 years that Christianity existed? St. Augustine, who lived in the 4th and 5th centuries AD, was surely the most influential theologian in the Christian world in the era from the year 100 to the year 1000, but he opposed executing heretics. You can see that on pages 240 through 242 of the biography of St. Augustine by the famous history professor Peter Brown. If Jesus said he wanted heretics put to death, why did St. Augustine oppose that idea? The answer is obvious. Jesus did not say he wanted heretics put to death, and Pinker's claim that he did is just not true.